أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله هيا على الصلاة هيا على الصلاة هيا على الفلاح هيا على الفلاح قد قام الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين نحمد الله حمدا يليق به عز وجل ونشكره شكرا يليق بنعمه التي لا تعد ولا تحصى والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد صلاة وسلاما ننال بها شفاعته أما بعد. So in our Sharia, in our deen, there are 5 maqasid al-Sharia, which means there are 5 purposes, 5 goals of the Sharia. Okay? And the 5 goals are: number 1, hifdh al-deen, which means that the Sharia wants to protect your deen. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is hifdh al-mal. If you have any money, if you have anything that you own, the Sharia, the deen also wants to protect what you have. Okay, so the first one is that it wants to protect your religion. The second one is that it wants to protect what you have, the money that you have. Okay, the third one is it wants to protect you, yourself, your body and nafs. The deen wants to protect you and your body. Okay, the fourth purpose of the Sharia, of maqasid al-Sharia, is that the deen also wants to protect your honor. Alright, so nobody can just walk up to you and curse you, right, or insult you. And the last purpose of the deen, of the Sharia, is hifdh al-aql, or protecting your mind, protecting your brain, protecting how you think. Okay, so one of the things that falls into the maqasid al-Sharia, or the purposes of our deen, is, like we said, the protection of ourselves, the protection of our bodies. And one of the things that falls into that is that means that the deen also wants to preserve our health. And if we look at Din al-Islam, we'll see that there are many times during the day where we make sure that we're healthy, where we make sure that we're clean, right? For example, it's sunnah that when we wake up, the first thing in the morning is that we wash our hands. So the first thing when you wake up in the morning, you say your dua, then you go to the bathroom and you wash your hands, because you don't know where your hands were while you were sleeping, right? Okay. And you also wash your hands, obviously, when you make wudu, right? Before salah. And you also wash your hands, it's sunnah to wash your hands before you eat. And it's even sunnah that before you go to sleep at night, if you're not going to take a shower, that you make wudu. Okay? So we see that in our deen, throughout the entire day, we're always making sure that our hands are clean, our bodies are clean, right? And that we're nice, safe, and healthy. And one of the things that got added to that, as we all know, is the mask, right? And the mask, if we wear the mask, it actually counts as ibadah. It actually counts as ibadah, which means that you're getting good deeds for it. Why? Because Allah told us that He wants to protect the nafs, right? And by wearing the mask, what we're doing is we're making sure that we don't get ourselves sick, right? And we don't get other people sick. Which means that we actually get hasanat for wearing our mask and for following the rules, right? So that is maqasid al-Sharia. And even when we're coming to the masjid, before any of us came to the masjid, there are 3 things that need to be clean. Number 1, the cleanliness of the masjid itself. The masjid itself, wherever you pray, has to be clean. Number 2, the cleanliness of your clothes. Your clothes, when you come to the masjid, they have to be clean clothes. They can't have any najasa. They can't have anything that shouldn't be on them, right? And number 3, you yourself and your body have to be clean as well. So again, we see that the deen is all about being clean, and it's all about being healthy. And in a hadith, Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ, he said, Al-Muslim man salim al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi, which means the Muslim, the one who's Muslim, if you're Muslim, then other people, other Muslims should be safe from your hands and your tongue. What does that mean? It means that if you're a Muslim, then you can't hurt people with your hands, right? You can't hurt people with your body. You can't go around hitting people. And you also can't hurt people with your tongue. You can't say something that's going to make them feel bad, right? You can't insult them. You can't do any of that as a Muslim, right? And part of what falls into this is that you also can't make other people sick, right? So if you have a sickness, if you're starting to cough, if you're starting to sneeze or anything like that, then it's better for you to stay home so that you don't hurt anybody else. And in another hadith, Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ, he said, اغتنم خمسا قبل خمس, which means take advantage of 5 before 5, which means that we might have 5 things right now that we're not going to have later. So we want to make sure that we utilize them and we use them correctly now before we lose them later. Okay? So what are those 5 things? Those 5 things are شبابك قبل هرمك, which means our youth before we turn old. Right now we're all young. Right? And eventually, inshallah, if we live, we're going to get old. So there's a lot of things that we can do now that we can't do when we're old. Right? We got energy, we have time, we have friends, and all of these things Allah tells us that, and the Rasul ﷺ tells us that we should take advantage of them. How do we take advantage of them? You're healthy right now, you're still young, right? You want to use your time to do good things for yourself. So yes, you want to play around, but you also want to study, right? You want to make sure that your body's healthy. You want to make sure that your mind is healthy. You want to be careful what you're eating, right? You want to be careful what you're also putting into your head, just like you be careful what you're putting into your body. And you want to build for your future, starting from right now. See what things you can learn. See what things you can do that will help you later on, okay? So that's the first thing. We want to take advantage of our youth before our old age. The second thing is وَصِحَّتَكْ قَبْلَ سَقَمِكْ, which means our health before our sickness. So right now, alhamdulillah, we're all healthy. We made it to the masjid, we walked over to the masjid, no problem. We're listening to the khutbah, no problem. We're going to talk with our friends afterwards, no problem. All of this shows that we're healthy. So we have to take advantage of this health to do ibadah before we get sick and we can't do ibadah. Maybe one day in the future, one of us gets sick, they get injured in their leg and they can't come to the masjid anymore. So now we can come to the masjid, so we do want to come to the masjid. We want to take advantage of our health before we get sick. And the best thing is that any ni'mah that you have, any ni'mah that any one of us has, if we use it towards something good, like for example, I have my tongue, right? And I use it to help people out. I use that to compliment people. I use it, if somebody asks me for help, I can give it to them. If I have my tongue and I use it like that, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will give me more. He'll make me maybe a better speaker, right? He'll make me more intelligent. Anything that you have, if it's maybe you're smart a little bit, right? Maybe you're healthy a little bit. Anything that you have that is a ni'mah and you use it for something good, then Allah will increase it automatically. Okay? So that is the second thing. We have to take advantage of our health before we become sick. And the third thing is وَغِنَيْكَ قَبْلَ فَقْرِكَ, which means our wealth, if we have any money, before we become poor. And after that we have وَفَرَاغَ قَبْلَ شُغْلَكَ. This is very important. And it means that if we have any free time, we have to make sure to use it right before we get busy. So for example, we just had our winter vacation, right? We had 1 week of vacation. But now we're back to busy again, right? We're back to school, we have homework, we have classes to go to, teachers to deal with. But before we weren't busy. So with that free time, what do? We have to ask ourselves, right? What do we do? Did we use it well or did we waste it? So any one of us, when they have free time, they should use it in something good. You don't want to waste it. You don't want to waste, for example, the entire day on your phone. That's not good. You want to maybe wake up and have a plan. Let's say, today I'm going to help out my little brother or my older brother. I'm going to help out my parents, or I'm going to read some Quran, or I'm going to do a little bit of studying. And maybe also I'm going to go play out with my friends. There's nothing wrong with that. But we want to make sure that we're not wasting our free time. Because we have a lot of free time right now, right? Like we said, we're young, we got a lot of free time. But we have to make sure that we use it right so that we don't hurt ourselves or hurt anybody else. And the last thing on the list, وَحَيَاتَكْ قَبْلَ مَوْتِكْ, which means we have to take advantage of our lives. We're all alive right now, right? Is anyone dead? No. We have to take advantage of our lives before we pass away. Because it might seem like we have a lot of time right now, but eventually every single one of us is going to die. Whether they're going to die when they're 30 years old, 50, 60, 70, 100, but everyone's going to die. And you have a certain number of years, right? Even if you live 1,000 years, you're going to have 1,000 years, but you're going to die eventually. And you're going to have to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with what you did. So we want to be careful what we're using our time in and what we're using our life in. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو التواب الرحيم.
The best time between the two khutbah, raise your hand, فاستقل and make dua from your deep your heart. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whatever you're asking for or you need. Make dua for your family, your parents.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم نعمتان مغبون عنهما كثير من الناس الصحة والفراغ. And this hadith is similar to another hadith that we just said, and it means that the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, he's telling us that there are two things which a lot of people they waste them. And those two things are number one, time, and number two, health. So as Muslims, we're asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and by the deen and by the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam that we should be the best of people. And when I say the best of people, I don't just mean deen. I don't just mean you come to the masjid to pray and you have good manners and all that thing. I'm talking also about yourself in the dunya itself. So yes, you should be a very good Muslim. You should be very good in your deen, but you should be very good in everything else. You should look the best you can. Right? You should wear the best clothes. You should smell good. You should talk good. People should like you. You should have good manners. Everything in your life should be good. Your grades should be good. The way that you talk with your teachers should be good. The way that you talk with your siblings should be good. The way that you talk with your friends should be good. Everything in your life as a Muslim should be good. It should be the best it can be. Anybody should be able to look at you. Even a kafir should be able to look at you and say, wow, that guy is mashallah. He's not going to say mashallah, but he's going to say something else. He's going to say, this is a good guy. He's a smart guy. I like him. And that should be all of us. Each one of us, we should want to be the best we can be in every single part of our life. And the way we do that is by taking advantage or using all the time that we have and all the health that we have. We have any extra time, we see how can I make myself better. Maybe the way that you can make yourself better with your extra time is maybe you can do a little bit of studying. Get better in one of the classes that your grade is not too good in, right? Maybe the way that you can use the time is to make your body healthy. So go out and play with your friends or do some sort of sport so you can keep your body healthy. Maybe the best way to use your time is you realize that I didn't read any Quran this week. Maybe I should read Quran. But that's the way that we should think as Muslims, is that anything in our lives we should try to be the best in. Anything, any field in your life. You should be known as the person who's getting good grades and also is really good at sports. You want to collect as many things as possible. Okay? And the deen itself asks us for this. And the way that we do this as young people is that we use our free time, any free time that we have, to help ourselves and to help others, to build good habits. Right? And that's what I want to leave us with today, is that, again, the Sharia itself, the deen itself, was sent down by Allah to protect 5 things. And one of those things is our health. And now something new that we have is that in order to protect our health, we have to wear masks, right? We have to make sure that we don't get other people sick and we don't get ourselves sick. And that the cleanliness and being clean is all part of the deen. And the last thing is that as a Muslim, we should strive to be the best in everything we do, whether it has something to do with the deen or whether it has something to do with the dunya. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو التواب الرحيم وأقيموا الصلاة.
يوسف، كل واحد يخلي الماسك على مناخيره، مغطي مناخيره. Keep your mask on, cover your nose.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الفلاح حي الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
كمل الصف الأول والصف اللي بعديه عشان ما يبقاش في جاب مع الناس. كمل الصف اللي هناك. أيوة. كمل الصف كمان جنب اخوك يا حبيبي. Make sure that your cell phone is off. Cover your nose. Keep your mask on. يلا يا علي stand up. اقف يا انس. انس تعالى جنب علي هنا حبيبي. اقف يا علي. خلاص.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
استغفر الله. كل واحد يخليه مكانه. استغفر الله. استغفر الله. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تباركت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم أعني على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. عبد الله خبر يونس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم. مع بعض. له سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض. من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه. يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء. وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. سبحان الله كده 3 times. على مهلك ما تجريش. شكرا يا قول بسرعة يا هند. انت يا محمد اطلب بسرعة. ماشي. شكرا يا يوسف. اللي بعديها ايه؟ بعد سبحان الله نقول ايه؟ How many times? الحمد لله 33 times. الله أكبر 33 times. ما تسقفش يا أبو بكر. ماشي يا عمر. قلت الله أكبر. ماشي يا محمد يا بني. خلاص بعد ما كله خلص. خلصت يا أحمد؟ لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. الورقة ديت كل واحد هياخد منه معاه واحدة وهو مروح. الورقة دي عشان الصلوات. خليك يا مصطفى شوية معانا. هتتابع معايا الصلاة 5 صلوات في الحد الجمعة الجاية إن شاء الله. الصلاة اللي هتصليها هتعمل عليها تشيك. لو هتصليها لوحدك مرة واحدة، لو هتصلي جماعة في البيت مع ماما مع بابا مع أخوك مع أي حد هتعمل 2 تشيك. الصلاة اللي هتصليها جماعة هتعملها 2 تايمز. واللي هتصلي مرة واحدة لوحدك فرد هتعمل لي علامة واحدة بس. تخلي بابا وماما يمضي عليها وتكتب اسمك وتجيبها لي الجمعة الجاية لو سمحت. اتفقنا؟ كل واحد ما يمشيش إلا ياخد ورقة معاه. What is the topic of the khutbah today?
Soon.
Guys, listen up. Listen up. Okay, ناس ايدك. Listen 1 minute. حاضر. عرفها انك في المسجد.